And this is actually going down between a couple of very high ranked players. So starting out with a nice pro ladder game and a random map. So today, you see the guys here, and I'm sure you will have seen these names somewhere before. Absolutely, maybe possibly, but down here in the blue corner, first off, it is Inspector Cot. And Inspector Cot is blue and he's going UEF, appropriate for the faction and the colour. He's opening his first down with a bit of adjacency there. And his opponent today in the red corner is Shen. Shen is red, Shen is Seraphim, and he's actually going for double adjacency between these two mixes here. So it's going to cost him a little bit less to get his engineers out compared to Cot, who's I feel like he had to choose to build it over this side because he wanted to get it closer to his hydro. Well, he chose to put it close to the hydro, whereas over here, Shen has decided to grab the double adjacency instead. We'll see how that works out for them in the long run. Not going to make a huge amount of difference, but let's have a look at the reclaim. So this is a random generated map. There's like archipelagos galore, and reclaim is a fuck all. 3,820 reclaim across the entire map, and most of it is on the starting island and the one beside. So is there actually any land bridges that they can get across? No, this is all water. So there's going to be Navy is going to be important, hover is going to be important, and air is probably going to be the most important. I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys look at getting some kind of early airplay. If you can get some bombers out and slow your opponent's expansion down, like even this is water. Like you can get some hover over that shore, get some engineers that can trundle on over and they can grab extra mixes on this island, but really at the moment it's all going to be about, there we go, manual reclaim orders ahoy. This engineer's going to have some fun scooping up all of that, and they're heading off to this island to do exactly the same again. Plenty of, well, 3 mixes and let's go. There's a reclaim order. That's for that NG. We're fine. It is fine. But over this way you can see there's 3 mixes and more mixes been built. 1, 2, 3, 4 pigeons into Air Factory for Inspector Cot. Over this direction is not quite the same. Shen is actually going for more PGs before he's going for Air Factory. He's going 7. So that means Cot is going to get his factory down first and can maybe start producing something out of it just to see what's coming along, or he's just going to have the factory in place for now. Maybe he's just got it there, not actually started building anything yet. No, there we go. He was waiting for this PG to finish, and it's a bomber. So first bomber going out for Inspector Cot, not too surprising there, is well useful, and Shen is yet to actually finish his air factory, but as soon as I say that, he brings over all his build power, and the factory is done just like that, and straight away he's into Scout and Inties. Like I can see in the build queue there, it is all 5-to-1 ratio of Scout to Inties and a transport thrown in for good measure. So he's wanting to get over here and spot that bomber, and looks like a 1-to-1 ratio for, it's a strange build. Lots of scouts. Lots of scouts for Inspector Cot, so he really wants to know what's going on, and that bomber is on the way for somewhere. Question is, will it be spotted by the scout flying on over? At this rate it will not be, and those interceptors aren't going to be able to pick up much, so you can see the distance that is completely nowhere near. So Shen has zero idea that bomber is on the way. He saw a brief flicker there. If he was paying attention, there was a couple of radar signatures, but this is actually Inties on Intie kind of fight, so perhaps that will be enough of a distraction for Cot to distract Shen's Inties, which looks like it has, and that bomber is on the way. All the way up it goes. Scout overhead, and maybe the scout has seen, don't think it did, but didn't see the transport. Would have picked up the buildings beside it. Had he not seen that, he might have got some Inties to charge that thing down. But as it is, the bomber is coming on over, and he's going to go, what should I go for? Oh, maybe I should go for the transport. But the bomber might run afoul of this interceptor, moving a wee bit close onto that guy. Going past, bombs away, Angie dead. Angie dead. Expansion denied a little bit. First bomber out for Shen afterwards. He has air control over Cot's base, but Cot already has that bomber out, and he could, if he was working on it, look at killing off these 3 NGs all at once. They are clumped together, the bomber's away, the NGs go for a split, try to get out of it, but no, they do not make it. 2 NGs down, 3 kills with that bomber. Paid for itself, and also paid for itself in time due to killing off the expansion. Does he get another bomb away? No, he doesn't. And the Corpus doesn't even land on an engineer of its own. Now, where was that bomber from? Oh, let's come back. Shin's bomber. Right, over this direction, yes, the transport was spotted by Inspector Cotton. He did get some inties going for it, but too late. The engineers have been dropped off on the ground and they are starting to build a factory, and he's going to be able to hold that island with that. On the other side, we can see it's actually been Inspector Cott walking over with his commander, wanting to grab this island for himself and say, mine. And there we go, first factory planned with some of that, and imagine some build power is going to flick over that way and do what it can. Right, naval factory already in the water for Inspector Cott. So he's going for some early unit pressure if you can. Who's shooting? That had to be Cott shooting something, I'd imagine. No, Shin. Shin killed something. Probably a scout. Probably a landed air scout. It's about the only enemy unit that would be in the nearby, and the only thing that would take 1 shot to go down. A T1 bomber has been spotted by Cott, taken down there. Not going to get anything done, that guy. And on the flip side, more bombers coming in from Cott. Looks like he wants to try and deny this. If he can kill off some of the engineers, that'd be all great. But the factories are in place, so they're probably not going to get a heck of a lot done, though. They are going to just bomb things away. First rolling out misses. Well, damages some of the engineers, but they just happen to move at the right time and get out of it. Plenty of inties here for support from Cott. They need to be over this direction, though, to help the bomber out, who's now going to start tickling away at these NGs who are converging onto one spot to build an anti-air turret. More bombers coming. Oh no, they're over here. They're harassing all over the place, and that is kind of useful, actually. If they can bomb different areas and kill different things off, there we go, anti-air out of the factories, that's going to be a problem. And combine that with the T1 AA, and that's not really a harassable position anymore. But speaking of harassment, there's another bomber coming out from Shen. Looks like it's heading down this way. Maybe it can harass here, but this factory is well established, and this is commander. Can't really harass the commander out of anything. Engineers here, 5 of them, saying hello to a bunch of inceptors, just staring at each other across the other side of the factory. Not much they can do about that, but here we go. The first Thunderhead out from Inspector Cott, and if we can move up this way and just patrol here, it might be able to get a bit of an area denial for factories. And he can stay himself in the Navy game and keep Shen out of it, because, well, you know, UEF Navy? UEF Navy has cruisers, and those TAC missiles could cause all sorts of issues. Having said, oh dear, 6 kills with the 1 bomb for this bomber. He's a happy boy. 6 NGs dead in this nice big clump right there. More NGs coming on out. It's going to circle back around for another pass, but along come the inties from Inspector Cott. They're going to get distracted, and this bomb's going to have a free run to get some more kills. Might want to throw some T1 AA. That looks like I'm losing session, and say kind of. Well, he's ahead on power. He's a wee bit behind on the mass side of things, and he's got a worse KD ratio, although this bomber's trying his damnedest to make it better. 8 kills for that guy now, 8 engineers dead, and he's going to get another one at least. I'd say that bomb's going to go off on these 2, maybe 2 at the same time. 10 kills for that bomber. 10 kills, double Venercy. Is not going to see another chance though. Gets shot down out of the sky, but that has been incredibly effective, that guy. Plenty of fun. Alright, naval factories going on up here for Shen, and he's Seraphim, so also has cruisers with those with long range TAC missiles. So both of these guys, if they can get T2 in the water, they're going to be able to cause all sorts of issues, because I believe they'll be able to move through this. Yeah, that's deep enough. That's absolutely deep enough. They'll 100% be able to move through these little gaps. I mean, this guy has its frigate, so it's a wee bit smaller, but absolutely want to do that. Right, more harassment going on. We can see there's another bomber out from Shen trying to kill off a mass extractor. Might want to kill the NG. Radar going on up, and maybe needs it. 3 bombers loitering in the area. Wants to get some minties back there to take care of those before they take out Mr. Engineer here, but it's going to be too late. Engineer does die. Radar's up. If he's paying attention, he's going to see that there's 3 aerial items there. mass extractor down to 10 health. It's going to die on the next pass. And there we go, some inties have been recalled back to the area to sweep up over this direction, and the frigates are still having a look around. The naval factories have been seen by God, so he's sending his own frigates up that way, and depending on what he's doing with that, he may wants to move it. If he keeps moving up, he could take out a few engineers, which will slow down production on that front. T2 lands, and those are Yenzins coming off the bench, so the hover tank, Seraphim hover tanks are being planned out of this factory here. They're going to be a bit of a pain. Although, having said that, they usually die to frigate spam. So, frigates are reasonably effective against hover. Bunch of air down here, just patrolling around, taking care of some interceptors. I'm hearing... Oh no, it looks like Inspector Cot actually dropped over here with some NGs, but they have run afoul of Shen's commander. So he's not going to be able to hold that position. He's also not going to be able to make the surprise naval factory down here that he had planned. Over this direction, well, the frigates here, the Yenzin is here. So you see the Yenzin has 1300 health. Actually, what's the DPS on one of those? Just want to find out. So the Yenzin gets itself a DPS 60, range is 20. We want to compare that to a frigate down here. Well, this frigate has a DPS of 50, but more range and a lot more health. So I would say they're fairly even if the Yenzin can get in range. If the frigate can kite just a little bit, it's going to help do some extra damage to the Yenzin before it can get close in, and that will definitely sway the battle in their favour. And there's quite a few frigates over here now. And you can see pretty much exactly that. The Yenzin gets obliterated before it can even get a shot back. And it is done for. Attempt to drop over this way, and I say attempt to drop. The RC is down, as is the transport, but the T1 RT is ready to go, and they can rush over this way and take out a bunch of T1 max extractors ready to have themselves a great time. These guys, not much on the ground to stop them, but there are some things in the air. Yes indeedy, 3 bombers coming on over, and well, they should be able to take out all of these on the way past. Even just a few drive-bys, twist and turn and dodge, and let them kill as they go. Gonna be 1, 2, 3 of those loses this one. Not gonna lose this one though. Needs one more shell to land on it. Actually, that's one more shell. Coming on down. Missed. Ah, that's unfortunate. Still, 3 mass extractors, not bad. It's just gonna delay production for a bit. And still working on the Thunderteeds there from that frigate factory. Alright, we have a flak, hover flak in the water. Guess they don't like the idea of those T1 bombers that much. And just have a quick look at the map. It seems to be maybe a wee bit red. See, Shen has both of these corner islands fairly even across the middle, so I think just slightly in favour of Shen at the moment. There was a transport with a bunch of engineers on it that gets intercepted by, well, interceptors and shot right on down. It had dropped a couple of engines here, which ran afoul of a pair of lobos, which were just waiting for it. And they are done for. Cot's commander is walking around all over the place. We have another drop coming over here, and that's a bunch of engineers, but there's a T1 PD and a factory and interceptors, so I don't think that is going to get much done. Engineers drop to the ground and promptly run afoul of a pair of T1 PD. Nothing doing for that drop. See you later. I'm hearing, yes indeed, Yenzin hover tank over this way. It is, well, they've taken out 2 mass extractors there and is running away from a T1 PD. And it can actually get some more done, perhaps if it doesn't run into this PD. As long as it doesn't go there, it's going to be fine. Can probably finish off this mass extractor. It decides to stop and start shooting, which it does. Out of range of this PD here. Maybe want to get something else to take care of it. I hear stingers. I do. There's a stinger down here being annoying. Picked off a mass extractor there and pick up another one over here pretty much unimpeded. But the Navy situation is looking to start moving in favour of Shen. He's got 7, 8 frigates in the water compared to the 6 for Inspector Cot. Though Cot does have a pair over here on patrol, just preventing any further factories. This looks like an important air win. The interceptors from Shen have just gone and cleaned up the skies over here. taken down a large number of incendies belonging to Cot, and now there's not much to slow them down. Only a few inties left for Cot. He's had to retreat them, which leaves the skies free for Shin to start putting on some of that bomber pressure. Okay. Another Yenzing coming out of the water. This is like a steering match. Oh no, there we go, he's moving. But moving into range of T1 PD is not the greatest idea, although moves out of range pretty quickly. Still half dead. And maybe she must think about getting a second opinion about another defense there. If he had radar, he could have been shooting at it. It is just inside the range of this PD, but not quite enough. There we go though, drops into range there. Does a good amount of damage to the mass extractor. Another Yenzing will finish it off, but here comes the Navy. And it is the frigates pushed on up. What has happened to the frigates from Cot? Well, here they are. They moved up into this pond where there's actually nothing going on. And they're going to need to come back this direction as fast as possible to try and assist with keeping everything here alive. This is a problem. Plenty of frigates rocking on in. There's bull power in danger. There are factories in danger. Was any of them upgrading? Nope, they're all sitting as T1, but they're about to pop out another frigate on there, but might just be a little too little. A little too late. T3 I see. So T3 Air HQ for Inspector Cot. He's working on a PGen. Let's have a quick look over this direction and see how we're going on this direction. Well, still T2 for Shin. And there was a Stinger having some fun. Looks like he's taken out the mass extractor and maybe an engineer or two that are working on some of that. But that T3 Air from Inspector Cot could be a problem if he can take advantage of it. Frigates in here are making an absolute mess of the naval production for Inspector Cot though, and he cannot afford to have that lost. If he loses Navy, he's going to be in problems in a big way. And looks like it's also the issue of hover Yenzings moving on around, and they're trying to take stuff out as well. But right here, it is the naval battle that's going to the side. It's not looking good. Not looking good for Inspector Cot at all. These frigates are a bit late to the party, and these guys are in a great little firing line. Although Cot will have reinforcements rolling off the production line over this way. He is running out of active frigates. So too is Shin though. He's down to 6 and 6 apiece, I think. Make that 7, although there's more coming on in. That's actually a large band coming in from Shin, and the Navy is looking precarious at this point. Could be tipped either way. Interceptors all up over here. Nothers. Oh no. A bunch of Nothers, and they've gone for the mass extractors rather than the T3 power. I thought maybe they'd go for the T3 power. That would have been a great target, but instead they have taken out the T2 mix right there. I think it was T2. Yes, it was 720 just for the reclaim figures, but now they're going to hit the T3 power. Yes, indeed. 1, 2, down they go. Going to take a lot more Nothers than that to do it, but in here the Navy has been lost, and the factories are now right under pressure. And this is problematic for Inspector Cot. He's going to be out of the water, and that is going to give... This should be a signal for a T2 Navy shift from Shin. He's got no competition in the water at the moment. And if he can get those cruisers out, it's going to be absolutely damaging to anywhere else. I'm hearing a T1 bomber. There it is. It's happily taken out a couple of mixes in the middle, whilst the entire air division was distracted over here. And there's the ASFs from Inspector Cot. And they have just gone and cleaned up those inties. This one's got 11 kills to its name. And here comes the torpedo bombers. He's got to do something, because that Navy is a problem. Single frigate all up in this little wee pond, and too many Yenzings to take on. It's dead. But it has taken out these 2 mass extractors just to be irritating enough. Okay, still no T2 shift yet from Shin. He's just sticking with the T1 frigate spam. Just wants to control the waters, I would guess. But here come the torpedo bombers, and there's not a lot these frigates can do about those. They will get some shots off, of course, and do some damage, but there's not a heck of a lot more they can do. Right, we have had a T3 air shift from Shin, and he's now got that factory up and running and working on his own T3 power. What is Cot looking at? Oh, there's a strat right there. If we can get that strat out before Shin gets his T3 air up and running, he could do some good damage with that, especially if he can bomb some of this main area. If he can drop a couple of items around here, he could kill off some mixers, could get the power. would even kill a huge amount of build power and maybe prevent that T3 PG going up, though I think probably not, from judging from the speed. Although actually I take that back, that's looking pretty well about done. Maybe was thinking about repairing that fusion reactor. Well, it looks like he's planning to get a shield up by it. A shield would be a great idea. Strat away, and he's trying to keep an eye on that. But Shen has been completely brutal with his hover. So he's picked where the point defenses are, and he's just kept these Yenzings out of range, but in range of killing all the mass extractors. And you can see it's actually done a lot less than expected. Pot is still actually fairly even on the mass stakes, despite missing 5 of his mass extractors there. But there's another wave of Yenzings coming on in this way, but the strat is going to ignore those, and looks like it's making a beeline. When did those engineers get there? I don't know, but they're making a factory in a very advanced position. That is hilarious. And the strat bomber, wow, unfortunately it has missed its chance. There is now a shield over the T3 Pigeon, is right beside the air HQ, and there is, no, it's not an ACF for Synthes, but the strat bomber gets itself a mix kill, wants to not do any kind of loops, is being chased by T1 Inties. Appears to have just flown off the map, being chased by Inties off the map, so it's maybe picked out another target. Who knows, it's going to come back in a second. I imagine we'll see the bomb drop off. There it is going for, oh, it's going for the T2 power. Could have dropped one right there perhaps and killed the mass extractor while it was at it. And there's an ASF out, so Shen did finish off an ASF, and that has taken care of the strat bomber. And that is job basically done, but this is his main issue right now. Yenzing's still rocking around this area, and they are once again rolling past, killing mixes. They lose to T1 PD, of course, but they can skirt the T1 PD, which isn't actually mobile. They have a single unit of flak with them, which will be helpful, or 2 units of flak, sorry, which will be helpful for taking down any air that comes along. Single bomb off with a little bit of burning going on, not going to do a heck of a lot. Going to see some T1 mobile arty get absolutely munted. And see this, they're just bypassing the T1 PD, and off they go, killing some more mass extractors. In fact, there's not a heck of a lot to stop these coming straight into Pot's base. I'm hearing places. Here we go. So Cotton has grabbed himself into the mobile floating hover items as well, and he's moving up with some of his own, so he's doing a bit of revenge there. Sending these Riptides up to take care of the same kind of thing that Shen's doing on the other side. He's rebuilding his naval factories over there. There's his T2HQ that he's using to put those Riptides out. But this really is a problem. T1 PD gonna be needed fast. Was trying to get up a triad, but that's not going to get anything done. And as long as these Yenzings are distracted by the mass extractor, it's going to give the T1 PD a chance to get some extra damage in, but they're not. They decide they will go for the T1 PD. Another one gets up, another one gets up back here. Going to get some walls around there for protection. But the Yenzings are back in this direction, a little bit far away for the T1 PD to have an effect, and they can start killing off some power, killing off a mass extractor here, and just generally having a grand old time carving up the back end of Shen's base just due to their sheer numbers. T1 bombers are over here trying to sort things out, but what have they got to slow it down? Well, a stinger would be a better idea. We can actually water around and do some direct fire damage onto these guys, just like that. There we go. More stingers are coming. Of course, the rules is the flak sitting back here. As long as it stays there, it's fine for Inspector Koch. No dramas on that. But those Yenzings going to take out the T2 power right beside the T3 HQ. Both of them. Fortunately, there's T3 power over here, which will keep Inspector Koch going. The T2 won't be that much of a loss. And now he's got a larger number of stingers. They're going to start carving through these tanks much better off. Some tier 1 bombers floating around as well, but here comes the flak. Shen wanting to keep these things alive to do as much damage as possible. The question is, how much can they do with stingers over here, with T1 PD going up and a T1 bomber? The answer is not a heck of a lot more. 1 left, 0 left. Now it's just a flak and get some ground to kill that off. But there's more Yenzings all over the place. Another one here with some flak killing those mixers. Got a bunch moving up this direction, though they're going to run afoul of, I say afoul, I think the Lobos are going to have much chance against maybe if the Yenzing stood still, the Lobos did have a chance, they could actually do some damage, but unfortunately the Yenzins are not sitting still, and now these things can clean up this plateau, nothing on there to slow them down. Quite problematic for Shin, he's getting pushed all over the place, but the same thing has happened over this side. You can see that Inspector Cot has done tit for tat and he has brought his own hover, and unfortunately Lobos are not Zuis and they do not go over the ground. Sorry, they do not hover over the water, so he's having to ferry them. Risky proposition, especially with all this air sitting right there. The question is, where's he going to send them and will they land? Down this direction, yep, the Yenzins had doing their thing. They're maybe going to have some problems there. Naval factories are out for cot in that section. All T1 over this way. I'm still not seeing any updates to T2. And in fact, Shin has decided to scrap the Navy initiative and he's just going hover spam. He is absolutely just going hover spam. T2 Yenzins, Yenzins and Ioshivas. So the hover tanks and the hover flak, very difficult combination to deal with. If you try to get some gunships in, the flak would demolish them. Look at things like this. These guys have just wandered straight on past and killed another mass extractor there, but despite all this destruction, everything that's been lost has happened on both sides, so both sides given as good as the other, and the eco still remains fairly even at this time, so still keeping it up with that side of thing. Over this direction, going to see some naval factories go down, those very advanced ones from Inspector Cot. They were quite ambitious. I don't think they were ever really going to survive. Sending some more frigates in, but yeah, too much in the water for them to deal with. There's a Riptide trying to have a go at there. More Lobos drop down. They're going to have a problem though. The only thing that's in range is a commander, and sure, well, they can do some damage on that. Some damage. They can't really stop that. T1 bomber over here as well, going to pick a few off. They can get them this way. They can finish off a T1 mass extractor, because why not? What have we got here? Nothers having to go at something. Looks like they're actually streaking down this way, and they're going to have a go at the T2 mass extractors down here. The problem is they are T2 and they're going to take 2 bombs each to finish off, and there's plenty of anti-air, but no, there's the second wave of Nothers. They're going to do it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, didn't get that one. This one's going to finish it off though. There we go. And there's 3 T2 mass extractors down, and that is going to harm Cot's eco. Yep, 2 Nothers to finish off a T2 mix, and now he has to rebuild those and re-upgrade them. Over here we've got more Yenzins pushing out. They killed the factory off this time. There was a factory here, but it's an air factory. Don't know how much health it's going to be against all this hover. And speaking of all this hover, there they all are again on the doorstep of Inspector Cot's main base. He's got a handful of torpedo bombers. Maybe he's holding those in reserve in case he spots something worth killing, but it's all frigates at the moment. Still no T2 Navy for either side. Gunships have been roaming around for Cot. They're trying to kill off things as they go. There's a mad wave of, yep, just T1 naval factories there. There's no upgrades involved on that side of things. And more Nothers rocking around, having a look at things being protected by a bunch of ASFs. So wants to keep those Nothers alive. Wants to do some extra damage, but we'll see how that goes. On the right hand side, those gunships once again just swing in and clip a few things out. I wonder if they could have grabbed Shin's comm. Probably not quite enough for them to kill him quickly. Only about 8. Yeah, probably need about more than 10 to really make a difference. And more hover issues. There's been a Riptide that's had to go up this direction. Been caught by some Yenzins though, and needs to move or it's going to die a horrible death. Not going to be able to finish off that mass extractor. Doing some good damage, but in the end just not quite enough. He didn't have 11 kills for Snap, so it's been quite active around the map, getting a bunch of things. And there we go, the hover moving back on in from Shin, more of it rocking up this way. And really what is there to stop it was some T2 factories there. There's a bunch of T1 PD, and I'd say at this point Inspector Cot is probably sick and tired of the sight of Yenzins. And honestly, don't blame him. They've been raiding his base non-stop and just always having issues. They just rock on past and obliterate as they go. Too much dying everywhere, and this is a massive band of units, but they are running into tier 1 PD, which will help thin their numbers. And of course these factories as well, they can pop out some riptides as the time goes on, which can also assist in defending. But really he needs to think about something else to slow those Yenzins down. T2 PD would be handy, but expensive to put up for something that may not happen. But we say may not happen. Looks like it's been really consistent. The raiding there by Shen. Let's go have a look back at the other side of the map, and we can see there's a bit of riptide that's made its way up here and is killing off a T2 mass extractor. Not quite indeed. Some tier 1 bombers do the job, and that mass extractor stays alive, which is giving Shen just a little edge in the eco side of things as well. He's a wee bit ahead. Navy's coming though, plenty of frigates moving through. They're going to help cut off things like this. But there's counter navy out from Shen, a large bunch of frigates there. Could be pincered actually. Cot has a massive number of frigates, and between them I think he'd be able to take that. Then maybe he could look at perhaps clearing out the navy and speaking of more hover. Hello Riptides, doing exactly the same thing to Shen. Once again they've killed off a bunch of mass extractors. These were all T2 as well, so a big hit to Shen, and once again the eco evens up. These guys are at it. Back and forth, the hover is moving around the map, being really irritating, but I think Shen's got more of it. Yeah, he's got 40 tanks and the flak to help, whereas Inspector Cot, he unfortunately can't have the flak to help, so he's relied on his air to help tidy things up if it comes down that way. Frigates down this way, a couple facing a whole lot. Inspector Cot needs to reposition these guys so they form a bit more of a fire line, because at the moment they're getting overwhelmed one by one, doing nowhere near enough damage. The attention is going to be elsewhere though, but this is why units clumped up can win against units of bigger numbers, because they're in formation, nice and spread out, but not spread out. And you see they're taking them on one by one and doing huge amounts of damage, and I think this is unfortunate. I hear a strat, and I see a strat. There it is, a Syntha takes out a hapless Riptide there, and is going to carry on his merry way. There's a bunch of hover over this way. The Janus decide they do not like them, but there is flak in the mix, and while they can do a good bunch of burning damage, the flak is going to be a problem for them to try and sort out. They're going to swing back around for another run though, and over this direction we have some torpedo bombers on the ground. They're not going to have fun. That strat is down the right hand corner, killing off a few things. There's a lot of defense on the ground though, despite there being the torpedo bombers waiting to die. Janus come back around and do some fiery damage once again. God, that strat so loud. Killing off the T2 mixers here. Really want to try and get a bit of shielding up, or just something to kill the strat. ASFs will do it. They can kill the strat, but it's going to be too late. It's going to get its last bomb away. And once again kill off the T2 mix and the engineers that were building the shield. Problematic now is a wee bit of an airfight down here, and this is going to go better for Shen. He's got the jump on the ASFs because they were going for the strat bomber, and that is a comprehensive air win for Shen right there. And he now has all the air. He has all the ASFs, and I don't think Inspector quite has a single one. I think it just lost them all. So 30 ASFs for Shen, and a grand total of 0 for Inspector got. Not good times, and this little island here is now under threat. The Yenzins are coming, and that's going to be another 3. T2 mass extractors taken out just like that, but I saw the air move in this direction. Yes, indeedy. Torpedo bombers coming in, and that's actually going to be the Navy. No, it's not, because there's more Navy over here. So Shen figured that this Navy might be in trouble, so he's rebuilt 4 naval factories over there as backup. And torpedo bombers now can find some frigates and actually start doing some damage. They can got something they can shoot. Yay, they are so happy. They can't hit any of the hover, of course, because hovers are above the water and torpedoes go under the water. Drop coming in here from Shen. Looks like he wants to grab this mid island where there's a whole bunch of reclaim to be had. Yes indeed, there we go, dropping down a bunch of engineers there. There is some T1 RT in the region though, and if these engines sit still, they're going to have a bad time. They do start moving, but a whole bunch of them are going to die just like that. And yeah, then just keep moving and kill those off. Alright, frigates moving up around there, and yes indeed, the naval factories up here are done for. Some gunships, they've taken out the T2 HQ, and that's going to alleviate a lot of that hover pressure, because I don't think there's any other T2 lands available. Nope, it's all air over here from Shen, so those gunships have picked the best thing they could have. Good morning, Grites. How you doing today? They have killed the T2 HQ, and that's just going to relieve pressure. It's going to take some time to rebuild that and re-upgrade back to a T2 factory, and it just means there's not going to be a lot of hover coming Inspector Cotsway once he clears out the bands that are already in existence near his base, so bit of relief. And T2 Torpedo Bomber Revenge against the naval factories over here belonging to Cot. Nothing he can do about that. He does not control the skies. He's got a few ASFs back, but nowhere near the number that Shen has. And so he's got about 10, and Shen's still got that bundle of 30 over that way. If he can maybe drag a fight. Oh, no, I thought they were flag. We've got only T1, so no, that's fine. No dramas on there. Okay. Nice big navy here from Cot. He wants to think about moving it over this way to stop these factories from producing more frigates. He's got some more frigates over there, and that would actually give him command of the seas, and he could maybe think about setting up a naval factory closer to home, maybe all the way down here, and getting it to T2, because that T2 navy would help very much with the air, would help with the long-range tech missiles taking out Eco, and again, with the raiding these guys are doing of each other, it's been constant raiding between the two guys, and yet the Eco has gradually been going up, and it has been even. They have just been absolutely even fighting each other. There we go, frigates have come down this way, and well, they're dealing with a large number of torpedo bombers, and I don't think Cot wants to sacrifice his air into that. He has been trying to rebuild what he's got. Hold on. Attack missile. Oh, that's a tack missile. Single tack launcher built down here by an engineer, and is getting itself some kills. It's got 3 kills already. Oh, that's just brutal. That is a nuke launcher. Inspector Cot seen that. If he'd seen that, I thought he would tack it. He knows it's there. He has scouted this. He knows it's being built. And I wonder... Oh, good old Sparkies. Sparky down here, killing off the NG, and that might... Okay, Shen must know this. I think he just scouted it with that engineer. But still, tech launcher is going for more eco when there's a nuke launcher that is getting built. What must know about the nuke launch? The question is he building an anti-nuke down here? Let's have a quick look-see. Nothing yet. No SMD, so it could be a problem if he doesn't figure that one out. His navy is getting absolutely brutalized by those torpedo bombers. There's just so many of them. And he could send his ASFs in now, because these ones are over here being all distracting. And TMD is up. I think in response to that tech launcher, and I think it tried to go for the nuke launcher, but it was spotted. My TML would kill your nuke, so he was trying to kill the nuke, but the TMD is up, and I don't think there's much more he can go for with that. There's some mass points over here he could pick off, but no, all good. So that, if he knows he's not going to kill the nuke, there it is. There's the order to start building an SMD, and he's going to need it, because that nuke launcher is already built, and he's going to spam that up really quickly and get some assistance on that to load it before the nuke is loaded and ready to go. So never mind, he says, I'm just going to keep launching attacks at something. Don't really know there's much he can go for. I'd be going this direction. There's a T2 mix over there that wants to die. And he's not going to get much up here because there is TMD near the nuke launcher, although he can probably skirt that. He could. He can maybe sneak past, launch a pair of missiles at the T3 mass extractor and kill that off. But here come the T1 bombers. And that is now done for. Might as well control cat and grab the mass out of it. It's not going to survive when there's no protection for it, so yeah. And there we go, the split bomb wanted to kill the tech launcher and the engineer at the same time. Engineer ducks, dodges and weaves, gets out of the way. The tech launcher dies and then some more bombs come in, and that's going to be the end of the reclaim as well. Job done. But the hover, just the remnants of hover left. There's a few Yenzings loitering around that are going to have some issues. Another small band over here. Naval factories are all well and good. The T2 HQ has been rebuilt over there and more hovers coming. So dear oh dear. It took us time, but it is back. At the moment, Inspector Cott actually has better mass income than Shen, but it's not going to last too much longer because he doesn't have much to slow this hover down. Imagine all his focus is going to be on this SMD though. No way does he want to lose that, so he's going to put some shields up to protect it. Cannot afford to have that be lost, because if he loses that and that nuke is loaded, it's going to be game over. In fact, that nuke launcher is half loaded. Going to be a close one. The question is, who's going to be stalling mass while building? Shen is absolutely stalling mass. So if we didn't know, with nuke launchers and nuke defense, if you're stalling mass, they don't load. Like, they take forever to load. You can put all the assistance you want on them, but if you are stalling, they simply do not load. And here you can see Cott is not stalling mass, so that means his SMD should be loading a lot faster. If you have a look, you can see that line moving pretty quickly. Now we have a look at Shen's nuke launcher over here. Because he's stalling mass, it's barely ticking at all. If he had paused some other construction, if he had stopped his factories and focused on putting the assist onto this, that would be moving a lot faster. But because of the mass stall, which he did have, still has, it's going a lot slower, whilst Inspector Cott is making sure that he's not stalling mass. And that bar is moving very quickly, and it will overtake the nuke launch, so I think he should be fine unless Cott changes his mind about what he's building and where the mass is coming from. Another group of units over here, but they've got problems in front of them. There's a bunch of riptides ready and waiting. There's a bunch of point defense over this direction. And speaking of hover, this looks like Cott might be ahead. 53 riptides. You're going to spot that off to 24 Yenzing. So yes, the riptides are definitely ahead. And he's raiding once again, although there's a whole lot of T1 bombers around and they're going to have a bad time. But they can probably finish off that mass extractor if they just dodge a wee bit. Well, they don't even need to, they're just going to finish off with raw power. There we go, mass extractor down, then move down this way, kill off that. So, Koch is doing a decent job of some revenge hover right now. These guys are ready to just slide on through. And I don't know which way they go. They could go over here, wipe the Navy. They can go up this direction, or there's a lot of T1 PD. Perhaps they want to avoid that. Does he know it's there? Well, he does. He scouted it, so probably going to be no to that. And maybe just wander off and kill some peripheral items. But yeah, the hover has been everywhere. And the hover has been brutal. Alright, checking out the SMD. It is like 90% done. And going back to the launcher, which is also 90% done and not getting assistance anymore. But Shen has thrown up an Omni, which means he can see the entire map and he can react. Now he's not stalling mass. Nope, there we go. He's good on mass, and you can see the difference. That bar is moving nice and quickly now that he's not stalling. But he's too late, because Kott's SMD is loaded. So if he wants to have a go at Cott with that nuke, he's going to have to kill that first with something, and I'm pretty sure he's got something that might be able to do it, but no. He's got a whole swarm of T1 bombers. I thought maybe there'd be some stress mixed in with that, but no, it is all just T1. So we can't really take that on. The Riptides are moving up this way, looking like they want to try and skip things out, skirt around the edges a wee bit, kill off a bunch of these factories. And Cott says, give up, it's loaded. She says, no you. These guys seem to know each other. There's a bit of banter between them. They're having some fun. Yeah, it's all good. But the T1 bombers, well, they are staging, so maybe he's going to try and T1 bomb the S&D, and actually now would be a great time because Cot is stalling on power horribly. Oh, he's way stalling on the power. Last thing he wants to be doing is stalling on power, and the shield's not operating. Well, he's putting another shield. That doesn't work. He's got a bunch of T3 power. I don't know where he's losing it all. He's got all these air factories. Actually, no, he's got too many air factories. Too many air factories. He needs to stop some of those and get his shields back online, because if those T1 bombers came through now, or if those Nothers came through now, they would be enough to kill the SMD nice and easy, because no shields. Absolutely zero shielding. And there we go, more power going up now. Oh, he needs that. And he needs to get some form of shield turned on before those Nothers turn up. Right, mass scouts going up, maybe he'll spot them with those, and then think, maybe not. Up this direction though, those Riptides, they swung around the edge and looks like they were trying to get the HQ. Almost got it, but I think they lost too many numbers getting there on account of the point defense, the extra Yendings that were loitering around, and the T1 bombers. So nope, HQ survives and the hover spam continues from Shen. I think that was all of the Inspector Cot's forces. So no dice for him getting anything further. Where are the Nothers? Here they are. My mouse was sitting right over them, and they are ready to go, just waiting on the order. Well, the nuke is loaded. In fact, it's loaded and 50% again. How is the SMD? Well, it's loaded and 25% again. The shields are up now, so Cot has the power to keep things alive. Does that T3 shield cover it? It does, just on the edge. I'm pretty sure that's deliberate, because here come the Nothers, and they want to take out the SMD. Question is, will they be able to? There's air around. The ASFs are here. There's some SAMs in the loitering, and well, they didn't even take down the first shield. So no, the Nothers did not do anywhere near enough. And now a second T3 shield is up, and they should be absolutely fine. But there is a large number of ASFs, and Cot cannot afford to chase those. He would lose his air. Fine, says Shen. His inability to kill the SMD, he's his own nuclear expansion, which is this down here, and yes indeedy, so this is going to go pop. Absolutely nothing Cot can do about it. There's, oh there, 2 T3 mixers and a T2 50% upgraded. That's quite a loss, and it says T2 land HQ. There's a pause on that. Never mind, he says. Let's get reclaiming. That nuke is coming. That nuke is landing. Let's get this engine coming over to do something. It's all gone. Every last bit of it. Alright, let's have a zoom out and see what we're dealing with. Well, what we're dealing with is a complete and utter air stomping Shen with many more ASFs, and I think that is really the end of the air game for Inspector Cot. He's going to have to start thinking about an alternative idea. There's just tele defense. That's Shen with tele defense. Cool. He's facing a UEF, and Cot actually picks it up as well. Tele defense against UEF. I mean, I guess it's better safe than sorry, but habits. But to build more tele defense, I guess it's not a bad thing. But Inspector Cost Commander doesn't even have a single upgrade to his name. He's just standing there. Killed off a few Yendings, I guess, got a little bit of mass damage, but still, he's trying to get back into the air game. Let's just have a quick look at the air numbers, because it's going to be quite important. 30 ASFs for a Cot versus a giant swarm of 80. Yeah, he's not getting through with that. Jane is coming on out. T2 fighter bombers for Cot, and the question is, what are they going for? I'm guessing they're going to be heading up this way. Maybe wanting to go for the land factory, but they have been spotted, I'd imagine, and the ASFs are moving from Cot. Not the Janus, he says. Not the Janus, but there's flak on the ground as well. A whole bunch of these are going to die a horrible death. But they are getting their bombs away, and that's a lot of burning onto that T2 HQ. It is going to go down. Just enough Janus to do it. And once again, just relieve that hover pressure for a short time until an HQ is rebuilt. But the map at the moment is looking very, very red. And the eco is also looking very, very red. One way to beat you, says Shin. T3RT. Is he serious? Oh, I don't see one. I do see a strap on though. This cot advises the Shin that the way to beat him is by Control K. Why not? Alright, nuke launcher has a load again ready to go. This time there's a handful of strats. Perhaps they will be the tactic to break through. Control K didn't work, says Shin. Well done. But the strats might be the answer to break through to this SMD here. Does have a couple of T3 shields and some T2 over it, so it might be a bit tricky to take care of. The air is still very much in favour of Shin. Inspector Cot is still playing catch up on that. Got his own hover down here. He could look at taking out this frigate perhaps if he was watching. At the moment they're just out of range. But I couldn't see it. Again, and now it's dead. Just frigates dotted around here and there from Shin, just making a nuisance of themselves. Maybe just like a bit of early warning. If his frigates die, stop scouting, says Shin. Well, you've got ASFs, use them to make them stop scouting. It's terrifying. Okay. T1 bomber over here, and it's killing off an NG. Good bomber. But, see, it is currently in the hands of also Quantum Gateway going up by Koch, so he's wanting to get some more eco out of some Raz boys, I'd imagine. Get those things on to help his eco because he's way behind at the moment now. 40, he's nearly 100 eco behind. Shin has just grabbed so much more of the map and he's made jolly good use of it too. He's got mixes all over the place, upgraded here, there and everywhere, and actually he doesn't have that much of a hover army anymore. Here we go, he's finally starting to upgrade a factory towards T2 again, and there is hover plans come out of that. See these factories, they're just cycling through, trying to build, but they can't because there's no T2 HQ for them to do so. As soon as this is done, it will be fine, and then they'll be able to rock on with their Yenzin flak hover badness. Still no T2 Navy, I'm kind of surprised. I thought T2 Navy would be a thing on this map, especially because the water's everywhere. The cruisers have their long-range attack missiles, and they're decent anti-air for things like this. Good old torpedo bomber spam. And speaking of spam, there's T1 bombers doing something. Oh, they're coming for this area. Yes, they are. They are heading straight for a spot here. Well, there is a factory, but there's some AA defense around it. Of course, not going to do so well when the bombers can just show up unannounced. And they got the split attack going on as well. Going to hit multiple things at once. They're going for the NG. Well, they're going to kill the bombs off slowly, one by one, but the strats will do it. Never mind the T1 bombers, the strats are just going to come along and obliterate. Yeah, that's not T3RD. That's strats. Absolutely strats. For AA. And yeah, Cot doesn't want to engage that, so he's keeping his air closer to his base. He doesn't want to lose it. How are numbers? Has he got back in? Well, he's got about 100 ASF. Compare that to the 130 of Shin. So Shin has slowed down a bit on his ASF production because he's been burning bombers all over the place, but he's still ahead in the air game, so still very much a fight that Cot probably doesn't want to take. Okay. Looks like Shin wasn't kidding about the T3RT. It is on the way and it is half built. That is going to be a problem for Mr. Inspector Cot. He's got the nuke behind it as well. Will he go for one more? Oh. Strats now picking off this section, but the ASFs are all over them. Flying a very close air support role they are. And last thing Cot wants to do is throw away his ear on this kind of thing. They're just T1 mixes, but he can't do much about it. I feel like maybe he has to, because they are currently decimating his expansions, though there's some T1 AA. It's not going to do anything against strats, and Cot is going to have to think of a solution to slow those down, because he can't push anywhere. If he tries to go somewhere with his hover, those strats are just going to tidy them up. And the strat's now going for this little bit of expansion here. Is Cot going to respond? Well, yes, he is bringing his ASFs to bear, but the strats are running away to the ASFs that belong to Shin. And this is going to be a very important fight right here. If Cot commits to this, he knows the air is there. He's trying to get a jump on Shin's air, but Shin is paying attention, draws them away a bit, and there goes the air fight now. And that is almost looking pretty even at the moment, but oh no, that could have been the turn right there, I think. Yes, indeedy. The numbers just played out for Shin. The turn wasn't awful from Cot, but in the end, the just sheer numbers of ASFs have won it for Shin. He's trying to pick off these strat bombs, but nothing doing. And the absolutely cleaned up now. The air belongs 100% to Shin. It is many ASF versus very, very few. This is not good times. The hover is back. Yen needs once again killing off mass extractors. Not good, he's got Navy off his doorstep, and he could roll out with these replies and have a go at that Navy and shoot them away. But he now has to worry about the strat bombers. Where are they? I've lost the strat bombers. There they are. 1, 2, 8 strats in here, so Shin can have a go with those. Maybe he could look to pick off the SMD. Maybe he could look to pick off Cot himself. Man, Cot's getting an upgrade on his commander. Do you wonder what that is? T2. Alright, fair enough. Do extra health there. There you go, the scouts, and those will inevitably... This ugly alien has too much here. Well, yep, he kinda does. Because your air... The grand total of 8 aircrafts. 8 ASFs compared to 120. Cot says Sam's everywhere. And he is. He's got Sam's everywhere, and he's building more with his T3 NGs. He's got Percivals on the ground, so he's got T3 land. I don't know what he plans to do with it, but... Oh, that is what it is. The T3 RD is completed, and it is firing away. And what does Cot have as a response? The answer? Not much. What? RD, says Cot. Wow. More the accuracy problem. Yeah, it's kind of firing all over the place. Cot starts his own RT. Maybe he'd already planned to, but never mind. Well beaten to the T3 RT punch is he, and throws out the GGs and a control K.